What if horror movies were made of Legos? Well, today we're gonna find out because I'm making these 4 horror posters into Lego movies, starting with Fear Street. I want to recreate this poster in particular because I think it's the best one, so let's get into it. First we need a skeleton, and I found this minifigure which is perfect. I cut it out and got rid of the pumpkin basket because he's not gonna be doing any trick-or-treating. Then I imported this knife, which seems to be a concept rather than an official accessory, but it'll work great for us. I cut it out, but this looks like he has T-Rex arms. So I'm gonna scale the arm up for it to look less awkward. Now we can finally color match it to the rest of the skeleton, so I made the arm black and copied it over to the hand, before realizing it was supposed to be white. So I fixed that, and we have a pretty good skeleton. Next up, we need the worried guy behind the window. I got this minifigure, flipped it, and cut it out. He doesn't look too scared, so I'm gonna raise some of his features and draw a mouse. I'll also add a slight mosaic effect to blend it in with the rest. I'm gonna keep the head yellow because I think it's a very good way to secure the Lego feel of our poster. Now I'm gonna make the background black and make a 3D Lego wall to add behind the character. I also think it needs a bit more of a dramatic lighting, so I painted some shadows on both sides, and this is where you're gonna have to trust the process. I'm importing the glass texture that I'll group with the skeleton. Now let the magic happen. We're gonna need to do a bunch of changes. I'm gonna paint a color closer to the original, then darken the edges and blur the glass and the skeleton. I'll also add some texture on top and import street light bokeh for reflection. I'm also adding directional blur to the skeleton to make it seem like he's moving. It's much better, so we can finally import the title with some glow and get a gradient behind it before giving this whole thing a camera filter. It's getting a ton of grain, lots of contrast and some distortion. The final touch is some more dirty overlays on top of this. Next up is it. I've made it family friendly before, but what if it was a Lego movie? First thing first, I need to make the ground, so I got a photo of a Lego base plate and perspective warped it. Yeah, that's absolute trash. So instead, I went on the website Make a Brick and tried to get the perspective right. I got the ground and Georgie on 2 different screenshots and aligned them in Photoshop. While I'm at it, I'll just get every element of the image out of the way. So I got a minifigure's arm and a Lego balloon that I aligned with the original poster. Then I made the background really dark and started changing the colors of everything. I made the ground black, the balloon red, Pennywise hand white, and his arm a slight cream color. Then I made Georgie's pants black and the upper part yellow to represent his raincoat. And the only way to save this thing is gonna be a lot of shadows. Now we can add the Lego logo and right under it. And this thing only needs a camera filter. Us is really what secured Jordan Peele's place in my top 5 favorite directors of all time. And I think the poster is pretty iconic, so let's recreate it in Legos. First thing I'll do is get a 3D bust and arm to lay down the base of the poster. I'm using Make a Bricks again because it's free and it doesn't require to have any 3D software knowledge, which I don't have. Obviously this isn't sponsored, but it really helped me make these posters. I have to warp the arm for it to be able to hold the mask. The only problem is, now the lighting looks like nothing in the universe makes sense. I mean, whatever it is, like, is it particle, a wave, a joke from the simulation, that Lego's arms that Lego even blows up physics? What is this even real? What is really? So I got the same arm facing down, and now I can blend the two together to get consistent lighting. I'm also gonna add the second arm, so it feels less empty. And because apparently you need 2 of them. I guess we have our main element down, so we can start coloring the parts, starting with the head and hand. And I guess the shirt needs to be red. If you're enjoying this so far, you should leave a like because at 5,000 likes, I'll make an episode 2 where I actually build and photograph the Legos in real life before turning them into posters. I found a sad face that I wanted to use, but cutting it out would look really bad. So instead, I'm tracing the eyes and the tear. But I'm gonna have to draw a custom mouse though. Oh, and of course I messed with the letter style to get it to look like it's printed on. Now, we're still missing the mask, and Lego masks look like this. So this really isn't an option. Instead, I decided to duplicate the face and angle it a little bit. The problem is, because Lego heads are so big, it's covering up everything else. So I had to mask out the edges of the face. I also put holes in place of the eyes and mouth, and per usual, this needs a lot of shadows. Now we can add the title and the camera roll filter. You've seen it on the thumbnail, Alien Romulus. The movie was okay, but I think the poster is great. Once again, I'm gonna be relying on 3D Legos because that's just more convenient. I cut out this minifigure that I got just at the right angle. I also gave the body a slightly different position and got rid of the second arm. This obviously looks pretty bad, so we're gonna fill all of this up and paint some sort of neck. There are no official Alien Lego sets, but people have built some pretty cool stuff from the movie. In this case, I think this face hugger is pretty cool. Some people have made more complex one, but I actually like the simpler one because you can really tell it's Lego, and that's what I'm going for. I cut it out and warped it a ton in order to get an idea of what it could look like. Obviously this looks awful, but don't worry, I'm gonna make my own version with mecha blocks and angle it properly. And this is where 3D is very helpful. I decided to get the legs separately so that they could have a slight angle change, which normally wouldn't be possible. And then I just assembled everything. As I'm editing this video, we just reached 10,000 subscribers, and I'm so grateful that you guys made this possible. I've been dreaming about it since I was 10 years old, and all of this just feels so surreal. 2025 has been a crazy year so far, and I'm really excited for what's next. Thank you so much, and back to the video. I still need the tail, and this is where I have to step away from the simplistic style for a little bit. I got this from another Alien build, and I think it's really cool. I know the proportions don't make sense, but it looks nice. In the original poster, she's grabbing the tail, so I imported an arm and masked the tail for it to look like it's inside the hand. It's time for color correction, so I made the head yellow and copied it over to the head. I like to keep the skin yellow because it really screams Lego. And once again, that's the style I'm going for. I'm making the shirt red in order to still keep as much red as possible in the poster, but the face hugger should probably be black. Instead of having just a plain background, I want to make it a Lego plate, and of course it needs to be red. As always, this needs shadows. And now for the title, I really wanted to try to make one out of Legos, so I actually made every letter in mecha blocks. Then I made sure they were the same height and that the spacing was consistent. I originally wanted it to be at the bottom like the regular poster, but I do think it's nicer at the top in this case. And like any respectable poster, this needs a camera filter. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to see more, you can watch me make horror poster family friendly in this one.